Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 437 of the Blake and Sal Show with Mark. As you can tell, this is not Blake, and your ears and eyes do not deceive you. I have come back from picking up my pack of smokes from 2 months ago. I decided not to be a deadbeat host anymore. I'm Sal, the biggest heel in podcasts, and I am here with two lovely people at the moment. First, we're going to introduce the other person's name in the show. Mark, Dad, how are you doing?
Doing well. I thought you were with El Generico in Mexico helping to get the orphans. That or you were figuring out how to do more Steiner math, one of the two.
Now, you know I don't like charity work. That's not what I do. And up next, we have Blake's lovely wife, an author, may I add, a very well-known published author. Mandy, how are you doing?
I'm good. Happy early birthday, Sal.
Well, thank you very much. Yes.
Actually, happy belated
birthday.
birthday, because it will have already been your birthday once this posts.
That's true. Yes, that is true.
So Sal is 39 still?
I am turning 39. Yes, this is my final year of my 30s. I just want to throw up.
I'm the baby still.
Better.
Anyway, we do have another special guest coming on the show. He will be joining as soon as he's done with his work meeting, because we all have work and lives and things that need to be done. And I guess I will take on Blake's line here, help support the show, find all the platforms you can find the show and other projects that we work on the blakeandsalshow.com.
And I'll be Sal. You can buy their shirts, stickers, hoodies, and more from their TeePublic store. Click on the TeePublic link on their website or go to TeePublic and search the Blake and Sal Show. And no, Dad, they do not have their Post-its yet.
Hey, did our Blake and Sal Show portable casts come in yet?
Portable cats?
Yeah, you get the cast so that way when you don't like
someone. I thought you said cats, like C-A-T-S.
No, cast. Like
honestly, cats would have probably even been better.
Hey guys.
Oh, look who's tapped into the line.
It's Mr. Mephistopheles.
Wait, what?
What?
No, by the way, I believe the line you're looking for Sal is not all items actually available.
There it is. There it is.
So take over.
Look, we have our other guest on the line. We don't have access to music right now, so we're just gonna make one up for him. Everyone, welcome back, Rich Fan.
Yay!
Hey guys, apologies. I had a cool appointment with my dean, and then now I've got both a booster and a flu shot running through me, so I am currently dealing with the side effects of insane sweat. So I apologize for the viewers in advance.
Oh, we feel that was us about 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, absolutely, we feel you.
Yep. So well, since we're all here, Blake's on the road, so we will be doing things a little bit differently here. We're going to break for commercial, and when we come back, we're going to get into some plugs. Okay, and we're back. Right off the bat, Mandy, published author Mandy Riley, you have something to plug, don't you?
Yes. Pick up I Know I Am. It's available right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, at Orange Hat Publishing. It's in English and in Espanol. And this weekend I am going to be at Waukesha Unlocked at the Orange Hat offices doing a reading. So please come see me if you are in the area.
Very nice. And we also, Blake has a plug as well, which I need to step away for just a moment. So Blake, if you want to do that really quick.
No problem. Yeah. If you're this Friday morning, obviously you hear the show, there'll be a special episode of Clerks Minute going up. I actually found some interviews from when I was over on That Man Off That Man, and Scott Holden passed away during the pandemic, and I never really got to do a tribute show for him. So I put together one. So it's over on First Minute right now. So go take a listen to that. It's definitely a lot of fun. And I forgot how much fun those interviews were until I got back to listen to them. So go listen to that right now.
All right. And because Sal's not here, I'll be both Sal and Blake and Rich. Hit us with your plugs.
Sure. First, my home base, Pro Wrestling Torch, pwtorch.com. That's where I do my monthly articles in our newsletter. On the VIP side of things, I do everything with Rich and Wade, the deep dive with Will Cooling, the East Coast cast tonight with Travis Bryant. And then on the free side of things, I'll do the odd here and there appearance. Additionally, for limited time, I'm also at Post Wrestling, where I'm doing MCU Later, where myself and WH Park are covering Marvel She-Hulk.
All right. Thank you very much. And
And I have a plug.
we're not talking about your hair.
I curse you.
Okay. And with that, we are going to get to wrestling. Insert music here. All right. First in wrestling news, we have a very sad story. Antonio Inoki passed away at the age of 79. We are going to start with our wrestling historian for some words. Dad, Mark, please.
All I can say is that he's going to be missed very much, Antonio, not only in Japan, but around the world. He very much was ambassador of pro wrestling. Was trained by Roshan and Carl Gotch in the style Gotch wrestling, and also more of technical wrestler. It would team up with his friend Giant Baba, who at that time, I believe, was bigger than Andre the Giant as far as height, not his weight. And they're a scary combination. He won some belts locally in the Japanese Wrestling Alliance. Decided that he would make a name for himself, within other wrestling promotions. Had a title in WWE for the first Asian title holder, but WWE didn't recognize it. Had a match with Muhammad Ali, wrestler versus boxer. I believe it went 12. Which also developed into mixed martial arts, which he was known for, and judo. And his matches were with Ric Flair, very memorable. Said great ground wrestling person, submission. Founded New Japan Wrestling, and from then it just skyrocketed. He was also in politics, the Japan's House of Commoners, and very democratic party in Japan. So he kind of dabbled a little bit of everything. And to let you know, he took his first name Antonio from a wrestler that he basically liked and wanted to kind of do an omen to, and that's Antonio Rocca. So he took Antonio from that, and he will be sadly missed. Hall of Famer, and just take it away too soon.
Okay, and now I know why he does not remember what my birthday is. It's because he remembers all of that information about Antonio Inoki.
Hey, you never know when they'll come up for Trivial Pursuit.
All right, so we'll go to Blake for his thoughts about Mr. Inoki.
Well, honestly, for me, I'm not the real historian here when it comes to Antonio Inoki. I know the name and I know the history. For me, it's interesting because I actually got the news before everyone else did, because they broke it during SmackDown, which was shocking. I did not expect Michael Cole to be breaking the news of Antonio Inoki's death. That surprised me. But no, I don't have a whole lot. I know Rich, he was talking on everything this week, so I will throw it over to Rich because I know he broke everything down on their show as well.
Sure. So with Inoki, when you think about Ricky Dozan and God of Pro Wrestling called Gotch and Giant Baba, he's one of the most important figures in Japanese wrestling history.
Yes.
Forming New Japan Pro Wrestling, talking, about the tag team with Baba, that leading to a friendship, which became a friendly rivalry that went across decades in terms of him with All Japan and New Japan, King's Road versus Strong Style, Enokiism. And one of the things Mark mentioned in terms of his work in politics, there are very few wrestlers who can say they brokered several trips to North Korea for wrestling. There's him. There's one wrestler who can say they negotiated a hostage situation to get folks out of Iraq before Saddam Hussein could execute him. And he did that to the chagrin of politicians that were advisors at the time to the Prime Minister of Japan. So imagine if our Secretary of State's like, I got this. And then all of a sudden Iraq's like, no, I got this, bro. That's basically what he did.
I would love that, actually.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
I mean, if
And,
you're watching The Young Rock, it's not far off.
That's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Like, here's that time I got the nuclear code from Gorbachev.
Don't turn the key.
And that's really him. And it's controversy and history all in one. Much like I mentioned on everything, much like Vince McMahon, there are pieces of him that some people will see as unforgivable, whether it was his treatment of wrestlers during the Enokiism phase, feeding guys like Shinsuke Nakamura and Yuji Nagata to the MMA warriors that would destroy them and kind of mess with their careers physically. Some of his missteps with the company in terms of selecting people. I always look at Enoki, though, as a guy that took, and I mentioned this on everything, and for all of his mistakes, you can look at the establishment of New Japan Pro Wrestling and the way with which he put over and created Big Van Vader as some of the most important contributions he made to professional wrestling. And for that, he will be sorely missed. I look forward to however they honor him in January. And, my only regret is I never got a chance to get one of his Enokiism slaps, though I don't think I wanted a concussion. So,
All right, Sal, do you have anything on Antonio Inoki?
I mean, I mentioned this to Blake. The one thing that I always think of when I hear his name was him stopping that Doc Gallows match in the middle of the match just because he was unhappy with it. It just goes to show how much in control he likes to be, and how he was just so passionate about the business and everything like that, and it wasn't to his standard, so he just decided to stop the match and cut it short. So that's always something that I will, every time I hear his name, that's like the first thing I think of.
The one thing I will add is I think it is pretty incredible that WWE actually acknowledged the fact that his title reign did not count. They mentioned that on air, and that to me kind of transcended everything. So
that's a big deal.
So
Yes.
now this posts the question, because he's a Hall of Famer and is passing in time, will they recognize him as a title holder?
That would have to adjust everything. They'd have to adjust all the title reigns. They'd have to do the entire history. They can't do it. It's way too late for that.
That's sad.
but I think them
Yeah,
at
it's just
least
too late.
acknowledging their faux pas is at least a step in the right direction.
Exactly. They can put that in the record books at least. They can at least put it in the record books an asterisk or something just to say that it happened.
Would
Right.
then I guess, and I'm making a big assumption, and it's just me, I'm not speaking for anyone else, with that, because he's not recognized as title holder, is that why he was given into the Hall of Fame?
He's not in the Hall of Fame because he's a legend.
Yeah,
I know that, but
Yeah, that's the reason he's in the Hall of Fame. He's in the Hall of Fame because he's a
I
legend.
think you're making it. You're inferring the fact that it was a consolation prize, and I don't think it was a consolation prize. I think
that's what I'm trying to.
No,
that's what I'm
absolutely
trying
not.
to-
Absolutely not.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
All right. And with that, I'm giving Sal back reins of the show.
Yes, so moving right along, lots of AEW talk, lots of things going on as of late.
And Sal, I know you've been off for the last couple of months. I kind of wanted your opinion on what's been going on, because you haven't been here through all the controversy.
I have not. It's kind of surreal looking at it all, watching it all unfold. The whole CM Punk thing was just so bizarre. And I feel like sometimes, they were trying to blur the lines of, what's fake and what's real, what's reality and what's, scripted or whatever. And at this point, it's so far out there that it's just so hard to even decipher what's real anymore and what's not. The whole, the Bucks getting their titles taken away the night after, Punk getting his title taken away. We haven't heard a word about them since, the rumors of Punk not coming back and everything like that. And, and going into our next little topic here, this Sammy Guevara and Andrade Twitter feud that's been going on, which my favorite is Ricky Starks chiming in and saying everyone needs to shut the fuck up, which I think was funny. It's just, I don't know what's going on over there. They had this meeting supposedly, and the veterans spoke up, and things looked like they were going to calm down, and then it just started to pick up again. So I don't know what the hell's going on over there. And if this is actually not storyline and fake and scripted, and this is all legit, TK's got to get some fucking control, because this is getting way out of hand, and it's going to be a downfall sooner rather than later, because no one's going to want to work for them.
Well, it's not only that, but when Tony, because of being a wrestling fan, he's got to also realize that when you kind of back some people and you have a product and you're assuming that basically that this product can run itself because you're putting a lot of trust in these people to kind of do what needs to be done for the product, and you find out later that basically that's not the case. You need to put on your boss's hat and say, okay, this is what needs to be done. This is what's going to happen, and it's going to happen now. Either you're with me or you're not. And if you're not, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. I'm giving you an opportunity and giving you a chance. But Tony needs to put that boss hat on. He can't be everyone's friend, and he can't be a wrestling fan. If he continues to run the organization this way, I don't see a success for AEW. I really don't.
At this point, I think he needs to step down from like that role and just be the face and have someone who will actually make decisions, because he's obviously not going to be that person. And one of the big decisions that I foresee is, this is now Sammy Guevara's third time like in hot water. Like there was the whole Sasha Banks incident, there was the whole Eddie Kingston incident, and now there's this one. He is the common denominator here. And on a side note, I would like to know what is going to last longer, the Young Bucks suspension or both of Sammy's engagements put together.
Oh,
wait a minute. He's now married.
Yeah, I know, which is why if you put both of his engagements together, I bet the Young Bucks will be suspended longer.
So basically, let's see what happens first.
But on a real note, like something needs to happen. He is becoming a loose cannon, and then he plays the martyr and kind of says, oh, well, they hurt my feelings. And, obviously I know that anything negative about Sammy Guevara is a sore spot in this house based on the 14-year-old who's basically in love with him. But at the end of the day, I loved Shawn Michaels when he was an asshole and he got what was coming to him. So I think Sammy needs a rude awakening, and that's maybe not just a suspension, because he's done the suspension thing and that obviously hasn't worked. Eddie Kingston wanting to kick his ass, that would have scared the shit out of me. That didn't work for him either. So I think, something needs to happen, and maybe he will not be able to finance Ty's next plastic surgery if he's fired.
Wow.
Rich, any thoughts?
I mean, wow. You went with both barrels. I'm just trying to duck and make sure I don't get hit with a stray.
You're good. Don't worry. I'm just letting this out now because I can't let it out in front of Christian.
I got it. And I think, Mandy, you're 100% right. Sammy, I mentioned this on Everything with Wade yesterday on the simulcast. Sammy, remember the first incident with Sasha, they had him go to rehab, quote unquote, and learn how to use his words better and learn that this isn't the way. First thing we get is, after him being a misogynist, is fat shaming a coworker.
Yep.
Now he fires back and says the only reason you have a job is because your father-in-law, who doesn't even work for the company. And so now I see Sammy, as Mandy does, as the common denominator, but I disagree with you in that he needs to be fired. If anything, he is now AEW's problem. If Tony wants to side with these guys, I feel like just go full tilt, because on Friday, the match is either Preston Vance has to lose for the honor of Brody King after his death, or Andrade's kicked out of AEW forever. Seems to me like it might be a good time for Andrade to hit the bricks and let that man.
Brody Lee, not Brody King. Brody Lee, not Brody King. Brody King's still alive.
Crap. Wrong Brody. My bad.
I didn't even catch
Brody
that.
Lee.
Didn't even
I
catch
thought it,
that.
but I was like, well, I wasn't really paying attention Friday, so maybe I missed something.
No, yeah, Brody Lee. My God. Oh my God. So yeah, so you have the whole Dark Order on the line essentially, and the memory of this man versus the career of another guy. Like, just let Andrade go. If you want him to go, if you're not worried about him going to WWE, let my man float, get out of there. And you know, I know Tony said the same thing to Malachi Black and some other folks who wanted to get their releases. But to me, it's counterintuitive, because if you want to keep them, you're doing the very thing that people complained Vince would do, and you're hoarding talent for the sake of spite.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And you know, you got to look at it from a business aspect. You know, I understand that you want to be friends with everyone and have a good reputation with people, but if you let the inmates run the asylum, your company is going to suffer for it, and it's going to suffer badly.
Clearly, it's not working at the moment. It worked before, and now it's not. So things have to change.
And one last thing about Sammy is he is undeniably a great talent. Like, his spots are absolutely insane. However, he needs to realize that there's more to professional wrestling than just those insane flying spots. It's being that personality and someone that is just a decent human being, and he's just not that right now, with the fat shaming, with the misogyny, with just generally all of the shit talking that he's doing, when he is in a position to A, not talk shit, and B, him and Ty were very anti everyone coming out against them. So he's doing the very same thing that he's told people not to do. So, you know, pot, kettle, Sammy.
So I have
a professional wrestler, and he's not forgetting the first part. He's not a professional.
Exactly.
There you go.
I have a kind of if you want to compare things, is the way Sammy's going. Drew McIntyre, when he came into the WWE, and he had all this attitude and ego and being young, and he figured, well, I'm the heir apparent because I've been told I'm the heir apparent. If that's the direction Sammy's going to go, then you saw what happened with Drew McIntyre. So if he continues to go that way, then, you know, you're gonna get grounded, and you're gonna go someplace else that you don't want to be.
I almost feel like Sammy is like at a 20-year-old, just has a massive spotlight on him. Oh, that's what it feels like to me. He's like the 20-something who doesn't understand that he has to send for himself, which is fine. But this kind of shit would never happen in WWE because they monitor all this shit. If anything like this started there, they would be either suspended or out the door in minutes. Like, this would never happen nowadays, like ever.
And I mean, if we're talking like that, none of what's happened in AEW would have happened in WWE. And I think and Sammy, to what Rich was saying about how Sammy's forgotten the first word in professional wrestler, there's been a lot of people lately who have forgotten that word. And just, you know, they may be great wrestlers, but if you're not professional and if you're not a decent human being, then what purpose do you serve? Because you can find great wrestlers anywhere. There are so many people on the indies who are fighting and scrapping for just an ounce of what these guys have.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
So, I mean, they're a dime a dozen. Let's be serious. It's really the character and the person behind it that can make something. I mean, think of Danhausen. Like, there's no way his character should be what it is. But like, he's made it what it is. Is he the best wrestler? No, not even close. But he's made something for himself.
Absolutely.
So I think you need both halves of, you need to be a professional and a wrestler, and some people are riding the coattails of having one over the other.
And to your point, Hun, there's no way that the whole backstage incident with Punk, the Elite, number one, would have happened in WWE. There's no way that would have happened. And if it did, no one would be on the roster anymore. None of them would be working there anymore. There is no doubt in my mind, no matter who's in charge, Vince back before he left, or Stephanie and Triple H, if whoever's in charge, they're not working there anymore. It's just, I don't care how big they are, I don't care how big of names they are, they're not working there.
Right.
I understand that Tony wants to give everyone a second chance, and that's good. But what the talent has to also realize is that you're putting out a product and it's a business, and you represent your company as a business. So when you present yourself not only in television but outside of television, you got to remember that basically you're working for the company and you're representing the company. And if you don't act professional, you give that company a black eye, because now they'll assume that, well, I guess the rest of the talent is like this guy. They're all assholes and don't want to do anything and are disrespectful. So why should I pay money to see somebody like that?
See, I disagree with that, because you obviously know that there are people like a Moxley, like a Danielson, that are good, decent people,
Right.
But there are those assholes, and at what point do those assholes, overrun everything else? When it turns into, I don't want to see half the roster because they're unprofessional little bitches, am I going to spend my money? So I think it's not necessarily lumping everyone together, but it's knowing that
Right.
a few bad apples could spoil the whole bunch.
There you go.
Absolutely. By the way, Mandy, before we move on, I do want to say the Danhausen comment. And for those who were not at C2E2, Danhausen had one of the biggest lines for anybody in the building. Like, it was crazy. Like, I was in the middle of the line. It was nuts how many people wanted to see Danhausen. That he actually didn't even want to see Punk. Just Danhausen. It was amazing to watch. It was so cool. So, all right. So
another one is Orange Cassidy. Like
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like there's these guys that, they have the personality and they are good wrestlers. They're not great wrestlers, but they're good wrestlers. So being a great wrestler just isn't enough anymore.
You're absolutely right. You gotta be a full package. Full package. All right, Sal, back to you.
All right. Well, enough about All Elite Wrestling. We have a plea this weekend with WWE, and that is Extreme Rules. But before we get into our predictions, a couple of noteworthy things. Max Dupree, no more. He has left the Maximum Male Models. I'm assuming what's her face is taking over, or are they getting rid of the group?
Who cares?
Yeah.
You mean Maxine?
Oh my God. The moment I hear, let me talk to you, I am done. Done.
For those, by the way, so for those who don't remember back in the NXT days, how out of nowhere, we don't even know how this happened or when it happened, when Mandy got this massive crush on LA Knight. We have no idea how it happened or when it happened. But I remember we're watching something and she starts going crazy for his promos. And I'm like, when did this happen? Like, what's going on? So when she was out of town last Friday and we're texting back and forth watching SmackDown. And the minute he looked at the camera and did a low, yeah, she was freaking out. She was absolutely going crazy.
I don't
Did she
know.
throw her panties at the TV? That is the next question.
I have no, I was not. I did not. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. But it's just, he is another great example of, like, he's got this character. Like, there's just something about him that you can't deny. And I'm so excited that he is out of this hellhole that is Maximum Male Models.
I wouldn't go that far.
You know what's funny about the Maximum Male Models? I thought it was hysterical when it started, but then it just got ridiculous. And this past Friday was terrible. Like, it was bad. It was such a bad thing what they did purposely. I think they did it on purpose to make sure you knew Max was getting pissed off and aggravated and wanted to move on. So like it was a terrible segment on Friday. Rich, any thoughts on this?
Well, as you're aware from my time with Wade, I have been unabashedly a member of the Maximum Male Models intelligentsia. I have been all in on the
Yes.
silliness and Monsoir and all of the insanity of that silliness. But LA Knight, be coming back and being the guy on the season premiere of SmackDown is something I'm very much looking forward to. Now, it might
God,
not be
I
the
hope so,
Mandy's
Friday.
level.
So, I mean, would you kind of go and limb saying male maximum models have
Whatever
something
order it
similar
were.
to like the fashion police?
No, because the fashion police were actually talented.
Wow. Wow.
Damn.
Ouch.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Someone's
I would
very
more compare
judgy
them
in the car today.
I would more compare it to like a Pretty Deadly, where they have their moments, but really good in the race. So I'm not sure where to stand on this.
So do you
Yeah, I'm a little
see
punchy. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. I'm a little
do
punchy.
you see LA Knight kind of getting his frustrations out in one of the maximum models as his first match?
If he doesn't
I
want to get his frustrations out on them, I'm available.
That's
Wow.
different.
Okay. So let's move on. Let's move on. So we're gonna
Blake,
just
it's your birthday, but I think you've been given a brother husband situation.
so we need to address the elephant, or should I say the rabbit in the room. So we have this white rabbit theory thing going on. I just as recently as this past Monday literally exuded 45 minutes of my evening researching and looking at this QR code that appeared and just going into the rabbit hole, I guess you can say.
Let me say something. Let me say something here. So me and Sal talked during SmackDown. Only the first couple hours of SmackDown before he decided to go to bed. So we're chit chatting, and normally when these things come up, he'll rewind the video. He'll rewind his DVR. He'll take a picture of the QR code. He'll send me the link. We'll talk for maybe 5 minutes about it, and then we'll move on with the show. This guy, it's a half hour later, and he's still sending me stuff. He's
There
like
was
screen
so
capping
much
things
to
on
look
Twitter.
at.
Like, what are you
There
doing?
was so much to look at.
Like, I couldn't believe it. So
what are we thinking? What are we thinking? Because clearly it seems like something's going to happen at the event.
I feel like they've been teasing this for every single week since it started. Every single go to SmackDown, hear more. Go to Raw, hear more. Go to SmackDown, hear more. So I guarantee you, I almost don't think it's going to happen on Saturday. I don't think it's going to happen Saturday. But Sal, are you leaning there as the rest of us? You're leaning towards Bray?
I mean, to me, it seems like it's going to be Bray Wyatt. Although now they're saying it might be the rabbit from from what's his face's entourage. So it could
Adam
be
Rose.
too.
Adam Rose.
Yes,
Adam
so
Rose.
the rabbit from there.
Oh my God! I can't believe you went there. The bunny. It was the bunny. That's
The bunny. That's right. Yeah.
The bunny.
Oh wait, could it be Bunny from AEW?
No.
What happened? She got pissed off at the Page segment and decided to leave. Like, what happened? Jeez.
I mean, back in Lucha, you could have basically said it has something to do with Karrion Kross, but that's not the case. So,
Oh God, back in Lucha, there was a rabbit trap because they were all high most of the time.
here's the thing: if you look at the Rabbit Tribe and who was on it,
Who was on it? I don't remember. It's been years.
Paul London.
Is he even wrestling anymore?
If he is, he's on the Indies.
I like Paul London, but I don't think
Okay.
I remember wrestling anymore.
I'm gonna tie this back to last week's show because I actually did listen to the whole thing on the way to Minnesota.
Yes, you did.
I know, I'm very proud of myself. But I really did like how your guest last week mentioned that it could be a Mustafa Ali kind of situation.
By the way, for those who didn't hear last week, it was Tom Collahue from Nick and Tom's in Collegeville Adventure. Continue.
But I don't know if it would be him or if it would be something, but I do think that all of us thinking that it's Bray Wyatt or Wyatt, I think that it could be a swerve.
It's almost too obvious. You think it's almost too obvious?
Plus, it did. Didn't you show me? It said Gacy.
Yeah, so maybe Joe Gacy's involved or something along the line. I know people are throwing out maybe Alexa Bliss being involved too. So because he hurt because of the QR codes and stuff like that. So that's also one of those things. Rich, I know you're also wrapped up in this whole thing. So any thoughts on your end?
Oh yeah, I'm fully in Gacy with John Wayne Gacy and the masks and that thing's the Fiend. And Mandy actually just gave me my biggest evidence for Bray, because when you said Bray Wyatt, when you say White Rabbit, it's basically a spoonerism of Bray Wyatt.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Oh my God!
So,
There's another theory.
Yeah. And when you remember when he got betrayed by her at WrestleMania.
What was that sign?
Oh, go ahead, Blake.
Rich, what was that sign that I know Wade brought up on the show this week? What was that sign that was in the crowd? I missed it on Monday, but apparently it was almost said Wyatt Rabbit or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it said Wyatt. Yeah, instead of the white Wyatt instead of Rabbit. And so they're putting him out there. And you know, when he got betrayed at WrestleMania by Alexa, he put up a painting of Jezebel, and the QR codes led to a different picture of Jezebel, and then Samson bringing down the tower, or not the tower, bringing down the columns. And I feel like this is him, and especially with WWE recently hiring the gentleman who did a lot of horror comics and some television writing for Disney as far as their like ombudsman for big stories. He's the one working with whomever's doing this, and to me it screams Bray. And I think he's going to show up during the ladder match, because that's the best time, because then you'll see like, you know, one of those produced deals where Alexa 1 minute is normal cheering on Bianca, and then all of a sudden the music plays and, you know, boom.
I think that he won't be the surprise, but I think who he surrounds himself will be.
I could see that.
Because
my theory is
this is probably the biggest surprise since, you know, the last dance with CM Punk. Like, let's be serious. But I think that WWE, especially with having these people on their, you know, on their payroll now, I think that there will be more to it than just, you know, him going, hey, what's up?
So would you see the White Rabbit and the entourage with the White Rabbit being two females that are coming back for sure?
I don't
Are
know.
you insinuating Sasha Banks on the other one?
Sasha and Naomi.
Did you just call Naomi the other one? If anything, it should be Naomi and the other one.
Maybe because I know how much you don't like Sasha. You don't like Sasha.
Her name escaped me at the moment. I'm sorry. My apologies.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Naomi
I
and
can
the other
see-
one.
At least I didn't say what's her face.
Well, you could have just said Mercedes, because that's pretty much what everyone's calling her right now. So,
All right, vroom vroom. Let's talk about Extreme Rules.
please do.
All right, so I guess we will start from the bottom like we normally do, and we will work our way up. What the hell is a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match? First of all, can somebody explain that, please?
Did you not see the good old fashioned Donnybrook match between Drew and Sheamus on SmackDown like a couple months ago? That was a great match. It was a great match.
Okay, so what? Like, is there a donkey in there? Like, what's going on? Here? Like,
at the end of the day, it's a no DQ match. At the end of the day, it just has a massive great title to it because it's them. It's them. Who cares?
Okay, so we got this weird name match to start off the card here. We got the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium. We all know who's involved, so I guess we'll go down the list. So we'll start with Blake.
Well, actually, I'm throwing something. I know. Any thoughts on who's going to win the Gunther Sheamus match on Friday? Because they're having an IC title match on Friday, and that ties into this match.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, I'm assuming
You think Gunther's retaining? You think Gunther's retaining? I'm not even sure. I'm not 100% sure.
I would assume so.
I think it all depends on that match, because I'm actually leaning toward Gunther retaining and the Brawling Brutes winning in this match as kind of like, you didn't win the title, but we'll give you this match kind of a thing. You know what I mean? One of those things.
Sheamus is a wrestler that doesn't need a title to
True.
be relevant and important, and he's consistently proven that. And I totally agree that Gunther, whatever, he'll win the match Friday, but I think the Brawling Brutes will take it because I'm sorry, when you have a match called the good old fashioned Donnybrook match, I just don't see anybody but the Brawling Brutes winning. It's essentially made for them. And like the only thing I'm sad about is it seems like it would be the perfect match for JR to call.
Oh,
I feel like there would just be so many opportunities for
him to fuck up. Yes, I agree.
You say I'm punchy tonight. You say I'm punchy.
besides, you never know when the shillelagh might come into play.
Oh my god. Shillelagh.
Okay, right.
So Shane had brought up the shillelagh last Friday and Imperium used it on him. So
Okay.
So okay, continue.
I gotta go with the Brawling Brutes on this one.
Fair enough.
Okay, very good. Rich.
I too am team Brawling Brutes. I think this is a good time for that squad to get their win and hopefully set up a banger, word to America's favorite punter.
There you go.
With those guys down the road. I really I think it's good, and I hope that some of these guys get a chance to shine in these next couple of weeks after the season premiere.
I can't believe they've gotten banger open as much as they have. It's damn weird. It's so weird.
That'll be coming up on a t-shirt.
All right, moving right along. We have a good old-fashioned strap match. Seems like every match has a theme on this pay-per-view. Am I correct?
Yes. Every single one. Yep.
Every single match. Yeah, that's right. All right, so we have Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross with Scarlett in his corner on the strap match. Interesting Karrion Kross, whole bunny rabbit thingy going on. Let's start with Rich. What are your thoughts? Who's going to win?
I think just like with Sheamus, Drew McIntyre is the type of guy that can afford a loss and it's not going to affect him. But Karrion Kross needs a decent win. So I think he's going to win in the traditional heel strap match format of happen right behind Drew as he's doing his and then stealing the win.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Mandy?
I agree. Yield JBL, I believe, made it super popular. So yeah, I can totally see that. And let's just hope Scarlett doesn't go too batshit.
Blake, what are your thoughts?
I think that Drew's gonna no-sell another fireball like he did last time, and then he's gonna lose the match to Karrion Kross. I don't like taking Kross to win matches, you know that, but I just don't see the point in Drew winning this match. I honestly don't see the point. He doesn't need to win, and with the fact that he can just go back on Friday, cut a promo, and then be like, "I'm gonna do something else." I can totally see that happening.
You're right. He doesn't need the win. And I honestly feel like this was meant for Karrion Kross with all of his weird kinks. Like, I feel like this won't bother him as much as people think it would. And that if anything that we've seen between him and Scarlett is true, he might actually like it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Oh, okay, then last but not least, Dad.
I gotta go with everyone saying Karrion Kross is gonna take this one. There's no reason why Drew should win. There's no title involved. There's nothing involved. It's just two people that supposedly dislike each other very much and kind of want to get one up on someone. But I have a funny feeling the fireball will come back into play, and this time I think Drew's going to sell it.
By the way, Sal, you've been missing the last 2 weeks of us really making fun of Scarlett and Karrion Kross for their weird kinks starting on SmackDown the last 4 weeks. We've been having fun on the show with that, so
yeah, so I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Karrion Kross as well on my end. Up next, we have our I Quit match between Finn Balor and Edge. I'm going to go with Blake first, assuming he's going to go Edge.
You're going to assume wrong. You're
wow.
going to assume wrong. Mainly because I think Dominic's going to get involved, and it's going to end up. I think the entire freaking group is going to get involved in this match. Everyone's getting involved. I actually don't expect anyone to actually say
And Blake, I think we lost
Honey,
audio.
stop
Hello?
talking.
No one can hear you. Okay, I think his video's paused. All right, so let's move on. So
Okay.
he says Finn Balor's going to win with a little assistance. Dad.
Yeah, Finn Balor is gonna win. Edge can take the loss and then try to regroup somewhere somehow and take him all out singly instead of as a team. But like Blake said, Dominic's probably get involved somehow, or towards the end, Dominic is going to be the one that breaks the chair and puts the rod in Edge's mouth and try to do more damage. So my thing is, let's see who's going to come in save Edge. Is Ray going to save Edge, or is someone else going to save Edge?
What if Ray joins to be with his son? that for a thought.
See? That's something else that could possibly happen.
I mean, I don't see that happening, but it's
But
just out
you
there.
never know.
Rich, thoughts?
By the way, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I think that it's going to be a win for Finn with the I use the Horseman, the old Horseman flair, with Kurt Hennig head in the cage. Like, Ray's going to be put in a precarious position by his son, and Edge is going to have to quit to save his friend's basically life. But then the ghost of Eddie Guerrero is going to force Dominic to make a bad move.
I'm glad I came back for that.
I mean, but Monday you heard him. He's like, "You lied to me my whole life. You're not my dad." That's the only thing I jumped to.
Wow.
I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for him to do the whole Eddie spiel. I'm waiting for it.
And Mandy?
I think that in order to give Judgment Day credibility, they need to take the win. They need the win more than Edge does. And also, on a side note, if I hear Dominic go, "I lied," I'm done. That would be.
That's what I meant. That's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly.
I lied, I cheat, I steal.
I swear, if I hear that, any kind of a cadence like that, I will laugh my ass off, and it'll be great.
The gimmick is going over really well when you're gonna have Dominic come and drive in a lowrider.
Oh, Jesus. Well, actually, you're not going to say that Dominic has the biggest heat in the overall. He's the biggest heel heat, and it's amazing to watch. Absolutely amazing.
And he's doing really well with it. I give him a ton of credit because he is, he's still very green, and I think we all get that.
Right. Exactly right.
All right. So I'm going to pick Finn Balor just because. Next, we have the Fight Pit match. Ooh, this is going to be exciting. This is Matt Riddle versus Seth freaking Rollins with Daniel Cormier and as the special guest referee. I'm going to start. I'm going to say Matt Riddle because why not? Dan.
I gotta go Riddle. I really do. I mean, because I think Riddle needs this right now. And that way, it kind of solidifies where Riddle is and what he's doing, and hopefully get him into another program with someone else.
Rich.
I am always a fan of someone getting a themed match like the Lion's Den, Hart Family Dungeon, and winning, especially main roster. So I think this will be Riddle, and I think Seth, again, can dance his way out of this. And I think his insults are really what won him this more than actually winning a match.
I agree with you on that. Mandy?
I agree. Seth has turned into like a Sheamus and a Drew where he doesn't need the rub. He can do without it. And I think Riddle especially, he kind of rode on Randy's coattails to get to where he is. So I think he needs to prove that he belongs there without Randy.
And lastly, Blake.
I'm leaning toward Riddle as well. I'm curious how this match is going to go in front of people, because they've never done this match in front of people. The last few times they did it was in front of screens. So I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like. Are they going to have it separate from the ring? How are they going to pull this off. So that I'm curious about, but I'm leaning towards Matt Riddle. He needs to win. Seth beat him the last time. So I think it makes more sense for Matt to win this and end the feud. As Dad said, end the feud.
Right. All right, moving along. We have our Extreme Rules match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We have Liv Morgan against Ronda Rousey. Now, on paper, I mean, let's be honest here. But Mandy, what are you thinking about this match? Because I mean, by default on paper, it seems like Ronda Rousey should kick her ass.
Yes. And I hate to say this, but I think Ronda will take it. I do also agree with Tom from last week that it will be interesting to see what happens to Liv after she loses, and to see if she is more of a Carmella in the fact where they don't really give her another chance, or like a Becky Lynch where she eventually does, kind of rise back to the surface. But I think that Ronda is going to take this, and I would like to either see Ronda go against Shayna, and I hate to say this too, or Charlotte's going to come back. I hate to say it, but like it's been too long without Charlotte winning and losing a title.
You know what, though, hon? I hate to say it, but I was actually going to say something similar, because I have, if Liv wins, the only person left to her to face is Charlotte. I hate to say it that way, but she's the only one left to face at this point. I honestly think it's a better idea to put the belt on Ronda, though, and have a Ronda Shayna thing. I think that would be a lot more fun. It'd be something different that we've never actually seen. So I'm going to lean toward Ronda, don't have Ronda Shayna. But if Liv wins, the only reason is because Charlotte's back on Friday. That's the only reason.
Another thing that I would like to see is I would like to see if they do a Ronda Shayna thing to kind of put Sonya in there too, because I think that it is forgotten that Sonya does have that MMA background as well.
Rich, what are your thoughts?
I just want it to be that the bad lady goes away, but it's not going to happen. So I think that Charlotte's going to be back. Ronda is most likely going to win the belt. But I think the safest way is for Liv to have that shenanigans filled win because of Charlotte. And then that way Ronda and Charlotte can fight while Liv goes off to get marked by, I don't know, the White Rabbit's new friends or whatever else you can think of.
Dad?
Oh my God, Rich, you're actually predicting another feud for the women's division that's not for a title? What is this, NXT? What is NXT?
Here's the thing with Liv. She's nice. She, proves that she can hold her own, so to speak, but I don't think the fans have taken to her as a champ. You hear a lot of boos, and I think it's time for a change, and I think Ronda's gonna take it, but I think they're gonna leave Ronda's persona as heel, and if Charlotte comes in, I think they're gonna make Charlotte a babyface.
Charlotte can't be a babyface. You can't be a babyface.
When you go against Ronda,
Ronda's a babyface, technically. She's a babyface.
She's a heel.
No, she's not.
She's a heel.
Technically, she's not.
Let's just say she's a semi-heel.
She's a quasi heel.
Quasi heel. There you go.
Quasi heel. Wow.
And I'm. You know what? I was just to be different. Liv, because she's going to get help, and it's a no DQ match anyway.
And Jersey Girl.
And just and the slut from down the street. And lastly, we have our Raw Women's Championship on the line. It is a ladder match. It is Bianca Belair with her giant hair. It is Bayley with her cut hair, with damage control and all that fun stuff. Do we see what's her face? Wow.
Becky?
Yeah, do we see Becky coming back? I mean, she kind of disappeared? Is there a reason why she just?
She got hurt. She got hurt.
Oh, did she legitimately get hurt?
She got hurt at SummerSlam in that match against Bianca.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, her shoulder or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe not. Let's start with Rich first. What are your thoughts on this match?
I think because of the ladder and the fact that you're going to have Alexa out there, I think this is prime Fiend Bray, Fiend Bray, whatever, Wabbit show up. And so
Wascally Wabbit.
Yeah, I think Wascally Wabbit is going to cost. That Wascally Wabbit is going to cost for Bianca Fudd her title. And so as a result, I think it's going to be new champion, and hopefully that leads to Bayley being the gatekeeper as her other friends, aka Naomi and the other lady, show up.
That's right.
Mandy, let's turn it over to you now. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree. I think it's time for Bayley to finally kind of overcome Bianca and get over that, because I think that if they let this go much longer, it will become stale. And we don't want that, as proven by SmackDown. And I do agree that it would be a good time for either the Fiend to kind of use TNT and blow them all up from Acme, or it would be a good opportunity to bring in a few more members of Damage Control, meaning Naomi and the other one.
How did it take? By the way, how did it take us to the end of the show to start making these references to Acme Looney Tunes?
Let's go with Dad.
I hate that rabbit.
And isolate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My heart goes with Bianca, but
Girl,
I didn't steal your lunch. But I think because Bianca's had the title for a while and people are used to her having it on, I think I see Bayley coming up with the title. You got to give her that brass ring in order to start off Damage Control to go and do bigger and badder things. And I think you need that for this faction. Is almost similar to like a Mandy Rose situation, but with more talent.
Oh, wow.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. And I really think we can just skip Blake for this, because obviously he's going to go with Bianca. So I think,
Put some respect in her name, first of all. Okay. And second of all, yes, I was saving Blake for last. You kind of all know where he's going to go. So Blake, just make it official.
He's going Bianca. So let's just wrap it up.
Well, I was going to say, I honestly, it would not. My whole thing is, I have Bayley winning this match. Obviously, that's not surprise anybody. What's up? But the reason I say that is because I think they're turning Damage Control into the main roster toxic attraction, where they're putting all the belts on them for a little bit, which is not a bad move. I mean, it worked for Toxic Attraction. It actually made them actually relevant and somewhat decent down to NXT, despite Andy Rose.
The other thing to keep in mind is, why have a faction if you're not going to be the best?
Exactly. It's a very much like an evolution of all the belts, or Undisputed Era held all the belts. It's the same mentality here.
It's just
they've
really
never
nice.
done it with women. They've never done it with women before. Yeah.
It's really nice to see women doing that, because
Absolutely.
we haven't seen something like that happen with women. And I like the fact that you have this badass group of women that are doing the damn thing.
Exactly. It's the first time on the main roster you've ever done this. So just go ahead and finish the deal. I actually do like the idea of Naomi, and I really wanted to say her character from Mandalorian, but I forgot the name of it. And being a part of Damage Control, because I just don't see them feuding with Bayley. I just can't see it. So I can totally see them joining up with them and making this like a mega faction and having some fun with it.
I honestly feel
totally
like
see
they
that.
have a really great way of leaning into it by saying, they didn't want to give us respect. So
Absolutely.
we made we made it so that when we come back, we get that respect. Like, I feel like they have a built-in way to kind of slide into damage control.
Right.
And who knows how many members are actually going to be in damage control.
Right. Right. Well, I think it's time. No disrespect to Bianca. She did wonderful. I think it's time. Bailey's been gone for too long. This is the moment. I mean, everything is kind of leading up to this moment. So I think Bailey is going to win, and we are going to have a very fun next few months until WrestleMania, at least, with damage control. I mean, it's crazy to think that, you know, an all-woman faction has the possibility to actually dominate the storyline for the next few months.
Definitely. But I think it's also about time, and that's the clearest indication to me that Triple H is in control, is that women are given the spotlight unironically, and it's people that would never ever have gotten the chance before.
Oh, by the way, I just thought about this to Mandy's point, making them like this main event faction. They were on what, 3 segments on Raw this week? Like, they literally were on half the show, which is something you can do for the bloodline. They don't really do that for a female faction. So to have that happen for 3 completely different segments, all 3 of them got spotlight time. Like, they don't usually do that, and that's really cool to see.
Here's something to throw out, and maybe food for thought, is now that Triple H is kind of running the show.
Kinda.
Well, okay, let's run the show. Do you see another all-female pay-per-view coming? Or I'm sorry, that's not pay-per-views anymore.
Please, South House. I'll let him have it for this show tonight.
Please.
It's his birthday week. I'll let him have it.
Okay. I mean, do you see that happening?
I don't know. I think Evolution 2 would be.
If they do, I don't see it happening anytime soon. For the fact that they kind of need to rebuild the women's division, because under Vince, it took a back.
I mean, that would be fun. They have. Agreed.
Okay.
I think that by putting damage control, or like having damage control at the helm, I think that's a good start. And then I think you just really need to rebuild, and then you can potentially have that second women's pay-per-view. But I think doing it right now would be more of a detriment to the women's division than not having it, because I think right now it would be almost a joke.
Yep, I could see that. So well, that takes us to the end there. That was the card. That's pretty much the end of our show. Blake, do you have anything to add before we wrap it up? Or you're just going to be frozen again? Hopefully you are.
Blake, stop.
Yeah.
Wait, isolate.
Oi.
Stop!
Happy birthday, Sal. Oh, am I frozen again?
You were. Now start. Try again.
Now there's 2 of you.
Oh, that's my worst nightmare.
Oh, ouch.
No, actually, Sal, all I was going to say was happy birthday, because I didn't get to say top of the show.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess we'll just jump right into closing here. Blake's going to add My Chemical Romance in post, so we're not hearing right now, but welcome to the Black Parade. For more information on our show, including where you can hear our show, go to theblakeandsalshow.com, our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and pretty please comment or leave a rating and review, and we will rate it on the show. Mark, say your thing.
Hey, as always, it's been your pleasure. And if you happen to have a independent wrestling organization where you live in, please go see these people. These are young men and women that are coming up in the ranks of professional wrestling sports entertainment. You'll be amazed on the moves they can do, and they'll surprise you. And they're there basically to get your reaction, to see if they can go someplace to get that brass ring in a bigger organization and make their name well known. But with that, go to these events, not only with safety, but also, don't be the guy that everyone says that's the guy. Don't be the one that basically is loudmouth, obnoxious, drunk, throwing things, causing a scene. Don't be that person. Be a better person. And hey, you know what? Let's be better to one another, because this is what we need. We need to be better to one another. We need to be better. We're coming out of this, and we're coming out of this for the better, stronger, and wiser.
Well said. Mandy, do you have the sheet in front of you? Do you
Yep,
want to
I
take
do.
Blake's final last line?
Yep. Rich, thank you for being on the show. Next week, they will be rolling out their monthly archive show. Come back for something cool there because he probably doesn't know what he's doing. And
I do actually know what we're doing. I do know
Oh, what are you
we're
doing?
That wasn't
I'm
the
actually-
store? Okay.
No, I actually do know. I actually found the audio from when me and Zach Zimmerman, formerly from ProWrestling.net, previewed the very first NXT Arrival show. And it actually was really fun to listen to back. So I'm putting that up next week. It's a really fun show.
All right. So come back for that. It'll be really cool according to this. And then the week after, they will be back to preview NXT Halloween Havoc with Kelly Rose. So all that being said, I'm not Blake. I'm Mandy.
I'm not Sal. I'm Sal.
I'm Blake.
And I am surely not the White Rabbit.
That's Mark. And you've been listening to the Blake and Sal Show with Mark featuring Mandy. Have a good day, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Good night. Mwah, bang, yada, yada. We're done.
Okay.